Good morning. My name is Nate Newman, and I'm in the materials department at Arizona State University. And I've been working with Frank Wilczek on a new adventure called Sci-Hub at Arizona State University. I have spent over 30 years doing fundamental research in solid state physics and electronics. And I tried to answer important questions like what causes Fermi level pinning at semiconductor interfaces, what is a mechanism of microwave loss, why can't gallium nitride be grown with conventional MBE type methods, and what is a mechanism responsible for that limitation, and how can we overcome it. And so I've spent a lot of time looking at those type of things, and Professor Wilczek came to ASU and we was talking, and he answered many fundamental questions in very, very fundamental physics. But then he brought a new question to me that I found was very enticing and interesting. And so the rest of this talk will describe this new direction that kind of opened up my world. And I think we've had a lot of fun looking at that. So Professor Wilczek asked a question related to that there is so much more out there. And he challenges the team we put together to give the people the superpowers to see magnetic and electric fields, observe light, ranging everything from, the microwave, the radio, the infrared, up through UV, X-rays, and gamma. These are the type of things that we just can't see, but we have instruments and we know the principles behind them, but wouldn't it be great to know what was out there? There's the idea of being able to detect chemicals, much like the bloodhounds and other dogs can do so well. We smell a stew, they smell the carrots, the celery, the meat, all the ingredients separately. And wouldn't it be great if we had those possibilities? Ultrasound is used in a range of applications, and also the ability to touch from the atomic to cosmological scales, of course. Scanning tunneling microscopes and AFM can probe down quite to very small dimensions, and telescopes ranging from optical to microwave to many other different types can see that. And all of these things are available to the scientists. And most scientists just have access to one of a few methods. And Professor Wilczek asked the question, there's more out there, what can we bring it so that we can have fun with it every day and also share with others? An example of something that's, it sounds like it's an exotic technique, but bats use ultrasound, as we know, where they give off signals and follow the echo, and are extremely good at seeing in the dark, and they use ultrasound to do that. So why shouldn't we be able to? Of course, medical professionals use ultrasound in a different way, but to look inside the body where we can't see and make sure that the babies are developing properly in the unborn state. So there's an awful lot out there that we would sure like to be able to access. So Professor Wilczek's vision is to give us superpowers. We can perceive more. Well, here's an instrument that also gives us superpowers. It's called an Electron Paramagnetic Resonance Spectrometer, and it can tell you the chemical content of almost any material, and it also can measure the trace contaminants down to parts per billion. So it really has the sensitivity to detect chemicals, much like the bloodhound's nose, dogs' noses. And wouldn't it be great if we had access to this? Well, we can if you spend a little bit over $1 million. The cheapest units are over 100,000. So they're not really affordable, and clearly you just can't move this around. So Professor Wilczek and my team discussed how could we give these capabilities to everyone. It could be everything from educational uses to household uses. Wouldn't it be great to know if you have a peanut allergy, if there's peanuts in the food? Or if you're a firefighter, are there chemicals in the air that cause cancer? So with a little bit of work and a little bit of ingenuity, we developed our chemical spectrometer. And it is actually an electron paramagnetic resonance technique. It's going to retail for a few $100s, and it sits on a napkin, so a little bit smaller than what you saw and a lot cheaper. And it can, and the way we have described it is it's a portable chemical instrument that detects cancer-causing free radicals in the air we breathe and the food we eat. And we can identify chemicals ranging from drugs and narcotics to geological specimens. One of my favorite applications is firefighters, as I mentioned, could detect if the smoke in the air contained the free radicals that are known to cause cancer. And also when they dress up in the morning, even after their overalls and protective equipment has been washed, is there still chemicals on it? That's not very well known. And as we all know, firefighters do have health issues related to their job. Another thing that we'd like to perceive more is color. On the top left, we show the 3 detectors we have in our eyes from the cones. And so we have a red, a green, and a blue cone. And we can see from the violet through the blue all the way down to the red. And that gives us great color dexterity. But there's enough overlap that when we see monochromatic yellow, we can reproduce that as you do on a TV screen with a combination of red and green. And that's because our detectors are quite broad, but they do give us quite a bit of information. And most of us are pretty satisfied with this. But again, Professor Wilczek points out that even the mantis shrimp, which you see on your right, it has at least 13 detectors depending on the species, and they're much more monochromatic. So even I guess I can say the lowly mantis shrimp has color dexterity that goes from the infrared through the visible and up into the UV. And they have a much better way of discriminating what we would call color. And they can distinguish monochromatic yellow from red and green. And they can also look over a much wider wavelength. So challenged with these type of questions, the Sci-Hub group has built a portable optical spectrometer that again goes from the infrared through the visible up to the UV. So we can do as well as a mantis shrimp. This can be built fairly inexpensively. It'll retail for maybe 10, maybe 20, $25. And it can be put into modern technology. So we've actually made it into a protective phone case that allows users to identify color anomalies in everyday items ranging from the skin cancer to the health of plants and foods. And so it has just a wide range of applications. So we're having a lot of fun, as Professor Wilczek describes, giving everyone superpowers. So the concept of Sci-Hub and what we're trying to do, which is very different than the very fundamental solid state physics and electronics I did, and the very fundamental work that Professor Wilczek did that really changed science, from understanding how nuclei stay together to big questions in cosmos. We're having a lot of fun turning visionary ideas into real world results. And here's some of the products we have, a few of them that I've described. First, I can mention, of course, Professor Wilczek is director along with myself. We've also brought in world famous designers. Walter Herbst was Business Week's Designer of the Decade and has been very involved in our work. And Deanna McDonough is an empathetic designer, so she's very interested in helping everyone, and specializes in those with special needs. And so it's been really a great experience and a lot of fun. I'll go from left to right. We have the optical spectrometer that I described, and the chemical sensor, the electron paramagnetic resonance spectrometer as well. But we also know there's a lot of things out there, magnetic and electric fields, that we'd love to see. If you have a pacemaker, that's particularly important because it can erase the memory if you get close to high field magnets. So we built a wand, a little bit like the channel changer on your TV in terms of dimensions, and you wave it around, and through augmented reality, your computer can show you the strength and direction of the magnetic fields. And we just love this for many applications, including the education. We've all taken electromagnetic courses if we've been in science or engineering. And the math is beautiful, but how the fields look and how to visualize them eludes most students, including myself. And so I've really enjoyed having access to this. Also to access the color acuity of subjects, including identifying those with color blindness and the type of color blindness. Professor Wilczek used some very nice linear algebra along with the eye's corneal sensitivity curves to predict how best and fastest to detect color vision. So in the top right, we have what's called an anomoscope for that purpose. We've miniaturized that and hope that ophthalmologists, optometrists, and school systems can use that to more quickly and more accurately detect color blindness. What I like about this is a lot of this is actionable. Using the same color theory, we're working on ways to enhance color acuity through the use of glasses. So our dream is not only for those with color blindness, but all individuals would go to the optometrist or optician and get glasses so that they can see the images better, but they would also get a prescription to enhance their color vision. And so we're working on glasses for that. And the last we also have ways for those with color deficiencies, and even for ourselves, new ways to remap the colors so we see the full range of colors possible with greater definition. So that's been really great. And we're looking quite a bit for industrial and academic and educational applications. But along the way, we also develop some tools. And so we find that they're much more portable and much easier to use than, say, the typical laboratory experiments that either take up half a room or even sit on a bench top. We'd like to have things that are portable and can be used by just a wide range of individuals because of their low cost and ease of use. One is a light source, and what it uses is 10 monochromatic light emitting diodes, and it's computer programmable and it's quite bright. And so you can see over here on the right that the output we can use to tune, and we can make everything from reproducing RGB colors to daylight to light on Mars to just a wide range of possible light emission. And again, we go all the way from the infrared through the red, green, blue, and violet, and up into the UV. And so this can be a quite powerful technique. One demonstration is just looking at nature in a different way. And here is just a demonstration of the type of things that minerals and rocks and crystals can emit through fluorescence. And so we can really enhance our lives by seeing more, as Professor Wilczek points out. The last thing I'm going to mention is there's a lot of commonalities between art and science. Artists create and they see things in new ways that others sometimes don't. And so we think we can actually help to enhance art in a fun way. Professor Wilczek actually knew a very famous composer and singer named Mary Beechner, and she has synesthesia. And synesthesia is a condition where one sensory, such as color, can be experienced in a different way, such as sound. And Mary Beechner actually, when she hears a note or sings a note, she sees a color. And so we were able to work with MIT, the Media Lab, and Professor Wilczek, so that when Mary Beechner gave a concert at the Boston Museum of Science, when she sang her songs, we allowed the audience to see the same colors that the artist was seeing. And so I believe there was 2 very large sold-out shows that demonstrated this experience of synesthesia to the entire audience. So to summarize, we've just had a lot of fun looking in, for me, a new direction of using science to do many things. It brings it to many more people. It may be useful for health in many other applications. And also it can help in education, really seeing what you're learning about, which is what humans are just so good at. And also developing new tools that are much more accessible to more scientists. So it's been really a great experience. I'll end with our promotional video, and to be honest, it's not in final form, so excuse that it's a little bit rough, but the content I think is pretty solid. And I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully be able to play that here. Let's see how that goes.
Science teaches us that our senses only scratch the surface of reality. At Sci-Hub, we're dedicated to the proposition that technology can take us deeper and give us superpowers. The poet William Blake wrote, "If the doors of perception were cleansed, man would see the world as it is, infinite." Let's do it.
Sci-Hub brings individuals and teams together from the sciences, engineering, and the arts to develop technology that can give all of us superpowers.
I have the superpower to optimize my health by evaluating the purity of what I eat and drink.
We can give you, medical professionals and firefighters, the superpower to detect and even identify chemicals that cause cancer. Avoiding such exposure can save lives.
I'm Shamika, and I'm using semiconductor materials to detect dark matter in the cosmos.
One of our superpowers at Sci-Hub is visualizing electromagnetic fields in classroom and industrial settings.
I can detect the early stages of liver disease. Hi, my name is Georgia Bukata, and my superpower is the ability to determine the amount of sugar in fruits and vegetables so that they can be eaten at the most delicious time.
I can monitor cell permeability so the development rate of new life-saving antibiotics can be accelerated.
I can determine the amount of water for optimal plant health.
I love the superpowers that Sci-Hub gives all of us. It does it by looking at real-world problems and real-world solutions. It does it at the university level. And it does it by using design thinking, and it's supported by professionals. That is superpower.
Sci-Hub really focuses on transforming invention into innovation. Why I love Sci-Hub so much is that the technology addresses basic human needs. Sci-Hub places every person's challenges in the heart of the design process, enabling life-enhancing technological developments.
There's much more to come. We're working on making it possible to change the way you see the world with a flick of your head, and to see what the dark matter of the universe is. Stay tuned.
And I hope you enjoyed it, and hope it gives you a little bit of insight into the great things that Professor Wilczek has done for the education of the students that you saw, and many, many more in the promotional video, and also the impact that Sci-Hub hopes to make on educational, industrial, and consumer products that will enhance everyone's life. Thank you for your time, and congratulations to Professor Wilczek for all the great things he's done so far and what he hopes to do in the future. Goodbye.